This is a hearing of the Chatham Conservation Commission being held on November 15th, 2023, in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Chatham Wetlands Protection Bylaw and Regulations. My name's Janet Williams, and I serve as the chair. Today's hearing is being broadcast live on Channel 8 and is being recorded for the on-demand archives available on the town's website. It's being conducted in person, by phone, and by video conference. The agenda, instructions on how to attend, and copies of documents for review are posted on the town's website. To all participants, whether you're attending by phone or online, please remain muted unless you've been recognized by the chair. When you are recognized, please identify yourself for the record. If you're attending by phone, you can mute and unmute by using *6. If you're online and you're not a commissioner, we ask that you please keep your camera turned off until you've been recognized. You can indicate that you wish to speak by using the raise hand feature. So that we have a record of a quorum attending today, I'll now ask each commissioner to indicate their presence. Vice Chair Karen Latin.
Present.
Bob Rawls.
Present.
Bob Delvecchio will not be with us today. Mary Sullivan.
Present.
Lise Gordon.
Present.
Cheryl Maserbi.
Present.
So we have established that we have a quorum. Before we begin going through the agenda, I'll ask Acting Conservation Agent Paul Whiteman if there are any announcements about any continuances for today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Yes, 414 Fox Hill Road, Christopher LaCroix, map 11M, parcel 5-2, SE10 3652. Project proposed dock replacement. They requested a continuance to December 6th.
Okay, duly noted. And with that, Paul, you can please lead us through the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First on the agenda is a requested order of conditions, 486 Shore Road, owner 486 Shore Road LLC, map 16F, parcel A7, DEP number SE10 3643. The proposed project is demolition of an existing family dwelling and construction of a new dwelling within the buffer zone to a coastal bank. That's the project.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Bill Riley on behalf of Bill and Mary Murphy. Bill Lynn and Mary Murphy. Mary's here, present here today. I think we've got some improvements to report. I'll ask David to do that, and then we have Teresa as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
So when we last met, I believe the majority of the commission was on board with the project. They just requested that I update the project narrative to include the variance for the increase over the 35% and alternatives analysis for work within the outer OR. Since then, we went to Zoning Board of Appeals, and they asked for additional changes. So I trust that you have the revised plans and also the updated narrative, as well as the checklist was also updated. So the short story is that when we went to Zoning Board of Appeals, they asked for changes on top of what the commission had asked for. So if you look at the revised area calculation table, basically what I'm showing there is how the project changed from the first day we were before you to what you have before you now. So when we first started in the no disturb zone, we were asking for 293 square feet of increase. Now there is a net reduction of 189 square feet, so that one variance goes away. And in the outer OR, we made some more changes to reduce the scope of the project. So overall, from when you first saw this project, we've cut 850 square feet, almost 800 square feet, 850 square feet out of your jurisdiction. Basically, we took the garage off the front of the house, and that enabled us to slide it towards the street, an additional 3.5, 4 feet, which improved what was going on in the no disturb zone. If there's any questions on the Clark Engineering site plan or the narrative and variance requests, be happy to answer them. Teresa's here to talk about the changes to the mitigation and restoration plan.
Okay, thank you, David. Are you sharing? Could you go back to the table, please, for 1 second? Before it goes to Teresa, and I do want to hear from her, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for what you did with the coverage table. I mean, it's so simple, but it's brilliant. It makes our job, instead of having to sit there with our calculators and write down things and subtract and add and figure it out, the simplicity of doing that in a different color just was, we're going to make everybody do that now. So if they're all listening, everybody's going to have to do this.
Blame me
'cause
again.
They're all going to hate you, but that's too bad. Thank you. Anyway, it made a world of difference in being able to analyze the changes, especially when they're so significant as these changes are. So, thanks. Okay, Teresa, you're up.
I'll keep it's Teresa Sprague with Blue Flax Design. I'll keep my presentation very brief. We've made no changes to the proposed mitigation. So that we are reducing the amount of coverage, as David pointed out, in the 50, but we're maintaining the reduction in lawn and the invasive species management and the increase in the vegetated buffer. So we're still with that 7,434 square feet of mitigation proposed.
Great. Thank you. Okay. I had a question on, of course, the only question I have is on the landscape plan, but the planting plan is outside of jurisdiction, is that? I don't know.
Yeah,
There
pretty
is
much-
some in the outer aura there?
Yeah, pretty much everything on the street side of the house is beyond the 100 feet. There's a small corner in the L of the house that, there's a couple of plantings there that Andrew shows that are
Okay.
within your jurisdiction, but those,
They're native.
okay.
Yep, within
Yep.
the 50-foot buffer zone.
Oh, within the 50.
Where there's a
yeah.
small corner within the 50 on the north side of the patio.
Oh, yes, yep.
So they're Clethra alnifolia and winterberry holly.
Yep. Got those. Okay. Questions over here, Bob?
But I think the landscape plan says 78% of the outer aura landscape plants are native. Is that, I think that's what it says somewhere. I'm not sure unless I'm mixing this up with another one, but I think that's correct.
100% of the vegetation within the 50-foot no disturb zone is native.
Right,
78 in the,
78 within the outer aura.
right.
Yes.
78%.
All right. David, could you just briefly sort of describe the changes that zoning required of you? I'm showing the,
Well, zoning asked.
Yeah, zoning
okay,
doesn't
we're
require it.
asked.
Yeah, they don't require changes. They tell us what their concerns are.
Okay, same
And
as
we go
us.
back and
Yeah,
work
same as us.
with the clients and the architect to come up with a proposal we hope will be acceptable
Okay.
to them.
Yep. So basically, the house was from zoning setback to zoning setback north and south through the width of the lot. And they asked to either make it no worse or make it a little better. So they basically took a foot out of them through the middle of the house, and that shrunk it up enough that there's a slight improvement on both left and right setbacks. And then from the street, they felt that the existing house was too close to the street as it was, and asked us to find a way to move it back, not comply with the 40-foot setback, but do our best. So what happened was we got rid of the one-car garage, being, I think, 12 or 14 feet in width. That allowed us basically to slide the house towards the street, and because we were giving up 12 feet or 14 feet in width, that allowed us to slide the house away from the water and still meet the request of the zoning board that it's further away from the street. So the balance of the two, their second concern was the proximity of the hardscape to the top of the bank.
Right.
So that 12-foot compromise on the applicant's part allowed us to solve both problems at the same time.
Okay.
Elegantly solved. Anything else?
Yeah, but let me hold off.
Okay, Elise?
I was going to use your word elegant, elegance all around. Kudos.
Okay, Karen?
I don't have anything else.
Mary?
I may just be missing, but is there anything on the path to the bank? I mean, there's a 4-foot wide path, but is there?
Yes, so
what-
we're
what
just
is-
maintaining, it's going to be the native grass seed mix that we're going to put into that area, it just won't be planted with shrubs.
Okay.
Yep.
But will there be any stone or anything
No.
to? Okay, so
Nope.
no steps or,
Not at this time,
okay.
yes.
Thanks.
Then something coming. Cheryl, anything?
For some reason, in my notes, it says something about a national heritage letter. Do we need one of those?
Yes, so the initial application did not copy natural heritage. So this is within mapped habitat of, or not mapped habitat, critical habitat of endangered species. So we did subsequently file with MISA. There is a letter that came from MISA that was sent to the commission and copied us that the project will not result in a take of an endangered species.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Bob? I'm back.
Yeah, on the, Teresa, I guess on the property lines,
Yes.
are there invasives adjoining the property?
No, there's actually fencing on both the north and south property lines, and that's going to be maintained. So I have not gone over that fence onto anybody else's property, but there's nothing coming into the property that I can see.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there would be no need then for a mow
I don't
strip
believe
of
so.
any kind, all right? So I think in your proposal, you have there, you have a split rail fence in front of the mitigation area. Does that go all the way around except for the gap for the path?
So it's a single rail fence, so it's sort of that delineator between the vegetated buffer and the lawn, so that there's no accidental creep from lawnmowers
Right.
into the mitigation area. So that does wrap around the proposed mitigation area where we have mainly herbaceous vegetation as we transition from the fescue microclover lawn to the woody planting further down the slope. There's a lot of herbaceous vegetation, native grasses and wildflowers that we just don't want to be accidentally mowed.
My question is, does it go, I can't really see it depicted per se on your plan, but it's sort of referred to? I
Yes.
just don't know the full extent of it.
It's tying into woody vegetation both on the north and the south.
So it basically wraps around?
It does,
Okay,
yep, it makes
all right.
that semicircle around, correct.
Last time, I think, let me switch. I still count 7 trees coming out on your plan.
There's a note that there's one spruce that is going to be transplanted
Okay,
per
so
Commissioner Del
six
Vecchio's
trees with one
request.
transplant?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there's 7 trees total coming out and 1 transplant.
I see.
7 coming out on the plan.
Correct, that is correct.
One transplant.
Yes. And then and then to mitigate for that, we're proposing 10 amelanchier, serviceberry, 3 pitch pines, and 2 oaks.
Yeah, the landscape plan seems to show 3 red cedars going in, so,
There, I believe there are additional, for the mitigation, that's what we're proposing. There are additional
Yeah,
plants going in
but
for
those
the
aren't considered
landscape.
mitigation, okay.
Correct.
You
Those
know, I've opined before that I don't necessarily think of serviceberry as trees.
They-
But whenever I get rid of those in my head,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're still okay.
We are, and
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, technically, amelanchier is
know.
considered a tree.
Well,
It's
it
an under.
depends on where you look. It
Yes.
Depends on where you look.
Yep, yep. It is considered an understory tree, so that is true. Similar to witch hazel and
Okay.
other, yes.
I guess I'm just saying for future, PC just, for future reference, I mean, in this case, it's okay because you got enough actual trees.
Yes. And all the trees that we're proposing to remove, excuse me, with the exception of 1 damaged pitch pine, are all non-native trees. mainly spruce trees of different varieties that are not native, that were planted by the previous homeowner. I think we've discussed this before, as they were gifted to the previous homeowner, and they just didn't have any place to put them and just tucked them in here, there, and everywhere.
Apart from what Teresa shows on her plan, Andrew is showing 6 red cedars on his plan.
Oh, I only saw 3 within jurisdiction.
Yeah.
That's good, but I only saw 3.
Yeah, but, yeah,
Yeah.
I think I just lost teams.
Western red cedar.
Whatever, yeah, I think you're still good. I may have lost teams. Then there was this has been a while since we've heard this initially, and there was discussion, I believe, about,
No, 6, 3, I'm sorry, 3 in the NDZ and 3 in the outer order.
okay,
Cedars.
that's good, all right. So I'm letting the service berry slide. So,
Today.
today, today,
I will note that, yes.
not next time, maybe. There was talk about irrigation, is existing irrigation?
There is
And-
existing irrigation.
And I think there was a desire on the part of the applicant to keep it, and there was a desire among some of those here to not keep it, so I think we need to resolve that one way or another.
The lawn is being reduced, so what's left isn't much of a lawn, so we would like to irrigate it.
Even though it would be fescue,
It's fescue.
Yep.
which doesn't need
Irrigation.
irrigation
In a summer like we had, it doesn't need it, but
normally.
Well, I know, but it does no harm.
Well,
You know, the big fear of irrigation, I've always understood, is we're gonna end up with turf lawn. And so with the grasses that Teresa's putting in, I don't think we have to worry about that.
Well, you want to take that?
Well, the existing irrigation was designed for the turf lawn that exists, which has over time turned into something closer to a Cape Cod lawn. So it hasn't been well serviced by the irrigation. And the fact that this is going to be fescue going in that doesn't need it, and I presume it's coming out for construction purposes, we're just questioning why it would go back in. Especially this is the no disturb zone. Most of this lawn is going to be in the NDZ, so our regulations are pretty clear about no permanent irrigation in the NDZ.
well, you regularly say no new permanent irrigation. So with Teresa's plan to beef up the buffer between the edge of the lawn and the top of the bank, as Bill said, we don't foresee any issues with having this irrigated.
An issue that I see is that if it's irrigated, it becomes green. And if it becomes green, there's a temptation to apply pesticides and fertilizer to it to keep it green and make it look more green. So if it's Cape Cod lawn, it goes dormant in the summertime, who's going to put pesticides and fertilizer on that? No one. So it's an actual Cape Cod lawn. If you irrigate a Cape Cod lawn, it really isn't a Cape Cod lawn anymore. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it won't
Well,
turn
you know,
brown the way it's supposed
amazing,
to.
Because the lawn is whatever is planted. And all we want to do, I mean, Ms. Murphy and Mr. Lynn don't live here year-round. They shouldn't have to worry about it. It does no harm, other than we worry about things, but it's not going to do any harm.
We may see it differently. So, Teresa, you have
Thank
your
you.
opinion.
So one of the things that we've been finding over the past several years, not particularly this year, but last year with the severe drought that we had, is that, in the past, we'd say, well, we can irrigate, our plantings, our temporary irrigation with a hardware store timer on a spigot, and it's just not, it's not appropriately irrigating the plants to get them established. So the fact that they have an in-ground irrigation system or an existing irrigation system, we would like to at least temporarily use that system to get all of the mitigation plantings established. There may be some plantings that are outside of the jurisdictional areas that Andrew has on his plan. I'm suspecting there's hydrangea somewhere on this plan. I haven't combed
Plenty
through
of
it. But outside of jurisdictional areas, that would certainly, require some some irrigation. So I think if there's an existing system in place, maybe we could have we will use that system as part of our temp irrigation system. So we will actually create zones off of that existing system, use that irrigation as part of our irrigation system to establish our mitigation plantings, and then those zones will be discontinued once the plants are established after 2 to 3 growing seasons. But right now, what our clients are doing for even temporary irrigation is they are basically paying for a full irrigation system, backflow preventers, the whole 9 yards, because we just can't continue. And now we're, particularly in Chatham and other towns, that are starting to require wells for any irrigation systems, even temporary irrigation for mitigation. It seems almost punitive to not allow them to have some irrigation because they're going to need it in areas that are outside of jurisdictional. So whether or not they continue to irrigate the lawn or they have in-ground heads, pop-up heads for the grass, that's outside, but I would hesitate to require them to remove an existing irrigation system. We'll certainly be using it for our mitigation planting.
So you're going to tap into it for your temporary.
Absolutely, yes.
Irrigation of mitigation.
And extend it
And it's-
into the mitigation area.
Temporarily, so that portion of it would be above ground drip irrigation, yes. We are no longer warranting any plants, any woody vegetation, shrubs, anything that's on overhead irrigation. We're requiring drip for all of, because A, it's just the more appropriate way to irrigate. And after the drought we had in the summer of 2022, it's how plants have to be irrigated to get established.
But then you're going to remove it?
So then we turn the zones, so the zones are off, they're disconnected, and they're no longer watering. And frankly, nobody wants to water plants that don't need to be watered. So none of our clients want to water plants that don't need to be watered.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions from anyone?
Well,
I think that, I'm not sure we've resolved this issue. We'll resolve when we vote on an order of conditions. Personally, I mean, I know that it's not a new system, it's an existing system, and the usefulness of making sure that these incredible number of mitigation plantings that are going in survive, because we've just seen too many examples where they don't. So for the small lawn area that benefits and gets water, I take your point. Keeping it green is a temptation to go the next step. But the order of conditions is clear that there is no pesticide or fertilizer allowed in that area under any conditions.
Right.
So,
not that we can police it, but yes. it does
well,
say-
you know, we'll send a drone over there and check it out.
Well, and if I could, the nice thing about including the clover in the lawn now is even with the drought we had, the clover stays green. So the fescue grasses will go dormant. They're cool season grass. They will go into dormancy, but the clover stays green. So there's really not as much of a temptation to overwater in order to keep that fescue alive so that you have some green.
Yep.
Yep.
I can testify to that. Our lawn, as much as it is almost entirely clover now.
Yeah.
Everything else has died, so, and it stays green.
Yeah.
Some people love that, some don't. Anything else?
No.
So you are scheduled for zoning on the 7th of December?
That's correct.
Okay. We will start, we have already started working on an order of conditions. I think we should schedule this for December 15th, once you're past zoning, and make sure that what you are proposed is what the final plan is. And then if anything changes after the 7th, you can let Paul or Crystal know that there's another revision coming, and we'll deal with whatever that is. But we can schedule the order for the 15th.
It's the 13th.
Oh. Why did I write that down? Because I can't get my month straight. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion then to continue this to the 13th.
I move that we continue 486 Shore Road to the meeting on December 13th, 2023 for an order of conditions.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
I vote aye, that's unanimous. All right, we'll
So
see you
I
back
wonder,
here.
are we tempting fate, December 7th and 13th?
Yeah, you know,
I know.
Thank you.
thank you. All right, before we move on to the next item on the agenda, I just want to give a shout out and a very warm welcome to Mr. Greg Berman, who has entered the room. If you haven't heard, he is our newly appointed, and this is his first week as the Director of the Division of Natural Resources for the town of Chatham. He comes to us with an incredibly varied and important background in coastal processes over the decades of experience there at both the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension and Woods Hole Sea Grant Program. Given Chatham's unique location and the threats that we face here, having a senior management team with you and Ted and Paul with experience in coastal processes puts us in great shape to protect those natural resources and the coastal systems. And I think I speak for all of us here when I say we feel like we are in very good hands. So welcome, Mr. Berman.
Welcome.
Great, thank you so much, and I just want to reiterate that I have the utmost respect for the service that you provide for the town. I think you have a great staff with Paul and Crystal, and I look forward to supporting them and you as you proceed.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to working with you too. This will be excellent. So thank you. All right, Paul, moving on to the next item then.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next item on the agenda is a submitted notice of intent, 23 Wilkie Way, William Riley, map 17D, parcel 9-F10. I don't see an SE number. Crystal can chime in when I'm finished if there is one. Removal of an invasive plants, new planting, new gravel infiltration strips at the residence and garage, new bark mulch path, and expand the crushed shell driveway, new walkway and steps, and new fencing. That is the project, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Is there a representative on the platform representing this project?
Shoot.
You gotta be kidding.
Oh, my. Somebody else just got on, I think.
Okay.
Is there anybody?
Anybody on the team's platform here for 23 Wilkie Way? We received updated submissions. Wait, here's somebody else that's just, who's HB? Once again, calling for anybody from 23 Wilkie Way. We have a lot of questions. Paul, what are our options at this point? You're muted, I think.
Yeah,
Can't hear you.
unmute.
Oh,
There you
I
go.
am unmuted.
Okay.
Your immediate option is just to table it, and we'll deal with it at the end of the agenda. I will run out of the office and make a quick phone call.
Okay.
Try to find some phone numbers for that last plan that was filed. And then if no one shows up or comes in, we'll have to, I guess we can continue it at your discretion. I know this is an issue, but one more time. So let's do that. Let's table it and go on to the next one. And I will do a quick file search and see if I can find some phone numbers and contact people so they can get in on Teams.
I'm going to send you the email of the gentleman who sent the revised landscape plan yesterday. I believe
Okay.
his number is on that.
Excellent.
It's coming your way right now. Yeah, his phone number's
Great.
on there.
Okay.
All right.
So just a motion to table it,
Okay.
and then we'll move on to 111 and 119.
Do we have to move to table it or just put it off till
Yeah.
the end?
Just usually when you table something, you just move to table it, and
Okay,
that'll do it.
all right. I move that we table 23 Wilkie Way for a notice of intent to later in the meeting.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Lise?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so, okay, we'll come back to that.
All right. Next on the agenda, Madam Chair, is 111 and 119 Scattery Road. Nicholas Colucci and Eleanor Burton Colucci and Eileen Ryan map 16J, parcels LC8 and 10, SE 10, 3654. The project is proposed demolition of an existing dwelling and construction of a new single-family dwelling within the buffer zone to a coastal bank and invasive species control within land subject to coastal storm flowage. That is the project, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Paul.
Good afternoon. Bill Riley on behalf of Nick and Eleanor Colucci. Dave Clark has done the yeoman work here. I did draft a license that we discussed, and I forwarded it over. Unfortunately, I didn't send it over till yesterday, so I apologize for that. But Bill Litchfield's already copied it for his project, so.
So,
Miss Ryan, who was traveling in India, reviewed it and said she'll be happy to execute it when she returns from her travels.
so let me just ask, because we don't have it, we have it in front of us. Is it in the Dropbox?
Yes.
I don't have it in front of me, but I will have it in front of me in a minute.
We do have it.
Draft license, here it is. Okay, so I assume that this is standard and it obligates her to allow access to the property?
Well,
it doesn't maintenance?
it doesn't obligate her to. She's granting
She's
permission.
granting them permission, and it doesn't, she
Right,
doesn't
and-
have any active obligations under this. She
That's
simply has
correct,
to
and-
passively allow.
Right, and and she, she's very cooperative. She's really a wonderful person. I don't know if you've, we
We've
had the
dealt,
project.
we've had a couple of projects on
We
her
had a
property.
project up at Whistler.
Yep. Okay, so the only, and so it's fine, this, I'm seeing it, it's exactly what it is needed here. The only thing that we'll put in the order of conditions is that in the event that the property transfers ownership, it's incumbent on the current owner to obtain the license from I'm talking about the 119 property if it transfers.
Right, no,
They'll have to get the new owner to continue to allow access.
Well, see, I thought you were showing off your lawyerly chops because if Eileen conveyed her property, that would terminate the license.
Correct, but that's why I'm saying that, so the new owner of 119,
No. The new owner of, 119.
if 119,
yeah.
if she conveys her property, the owners of 111
Okay.
have to get the new people at 119 to give them the license, to
Right.
keep a new license and replace it with a new one.
Right, but
I don't know how they
Miss
do that, that's.
well, Miss Ryan is a member of a large family that owns a lot of property in the North Chatham area. They've been here in the property since she was a child, and she's 74. So I'm pretty sure that the Ryans are going to be around.
Okay, so somebody in the family will,
Somebody,
okay. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the license? I think that was the only thing we were waiting for. Do we have?
Janet, I have a very small nit.
Go ahead.
There's a typo. The word left has a D in it on the first page.
and I'm left-handed. You think
you
I'd be
should've
able to
gotten
figure
it
that
right,
out?
It's just a nit, but,
No, thank you very
It's a
much.
legal
We'll correct it.
document.
Elise is an eagle eye. She can pick out the typo from a mile away, which I can't do, so I'm,
So I do have a question for you, because I forwarded this as a Word doc, to Bill Litchfield, so he could use it. And I have in there mitigation and
Restoration.
Restoration.
Let's say mitigation and restoration.
mitigation and restoration. And he inserted invasive plant removal. I'd originally had invasive plant removal, and it took those words out because the order is really dealing with mitigation and restoration.
The
So-
mitigation consists of the invasive plant removal and the
Right.
replacement with native plants.
Okay, so I'm going to leave mine the way it is.
Okay, yeah, either way, I get the different focus on what the activity is, but I think we consider mitigation to include both aspects.
All right, thank
That's
you.
what the order calls for.
We did have a question about irrigation, just like the last property we were just hearing, because the existing lawn is irrigated, and we were going to check on whether this was, I think you said they wanted to irrigate. That's,
I have the same thing.
yeah, so there was an irrigation issue.
I see,
I have notes that say that
oh, he just
there
got
will be no
off.
permanent irrigation, so.
Yeah,
Tom McKay was on the line. I don't see him anymore.
Okay, Alex Galucci, who's the architect and son of the applicant, is on. Alex, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so the question had to do with irrigation. So is there existing irrigation on the property?
There is existing irrigation on the property, and Tom's first version of the plans, he noted that there was existing irrigation. And then in the second version, he corrected that to say that there will be no future irrigation
okay,
in the area, the resource area.
great, thank you.
Thanks,
The
Alex.
only other note I had,
I'm sorry, when you said no future irrigation,
no,
I'm not sure what that means.
Well,
it says temporary
there's
irrigation.
irrigation now, but it will be temporary irrigation, similar to the previous project or the first project that we spoke about today. Likely be tapped into. I don't know the details of that for temporary irrigation for the first 2 or 3 growing seasons, and then from there are no plans to use that permanently.
Okay.
But
It is, it's actually noted twice in the
Yeah.
conservation plant notes that I'm seeing,
It's
number
it.
5 and 7.
And 3 says irrigation will be removed once plants are established.
it will be removed, okay.
So no
That's what I
permanent.
thought, yeah.
Okay,
So it's good.
yep, okay,
Oh, maybe I have it.
okay. Anything else? Nobody?
No.
And I guess we will, where did we put this, to the 6th? Yes. We'll take this to the hearing December 6th for an order of
thought we
conditions.
said
No, that's
it
the
was
one that's,
full.
no, that's, I
Oh,
added
okay.
that. That was when I looked at the list and said, that's the last one.
Okay. Perfect. I move that we continue 23 Wilkie Way for an order. Oh, oops, sorry, 111 and 119 Scattery Road for an order of conditions on December 6th, 2023.
Gordon, second?
Roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
And I vote aye, that's unanimous. We
Thank
will
you.
see you back here on December 6th.
Thank you very much. I'd like to just take a moment for a personal item. The last time I was here on 414 Fox Hill Road, I had a lousy attempt at humor that was disrespectful to Paul and to Ted Keon and to you, and I just wanted to, I've already apologized to Paul and Ted. I just want to extend my apologies to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Apology accepted.
Yeah. You know, every now and then, the jokes don't land right, so I do apologize.
We've all had misfired
happen.
jokes.
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you. Don't go anywhere, are you? Oh, no, we're continuing, so. All right, Paul, let's move on to 414.
Next on the agenda is 414 Fox Hill Road, Christopher LaCroix, map 11M, parcel 5-2, SE10 3652. The proposed project is a dock replacement, and the applicant has requested a continuance to December 6th.
All right, motion to continue.
I move that we continue 414 Fox Hill Road to the meeting on December 6th, 2023.
Gordon, second?
Roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
And I vote aye, that's unanimous.
All right.
All right, Paul, any luck?
Okay, yeah, well, I didn't get your email, but I did get online. Is the individual's name, is it Zen Associates we're trying to contact?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I called their office and someone picked up and I said, you have to immediately go on MyTownGov, click on Chatham, click on the link for the meeting and get into the meeting because we tabled your project and the agenda's short and you've only got about 30 seconds. So if not, I don't
Good,
know if
that's-
anybody's on or not. Anybody on? Hello?
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the end of the agenda. If you want to go through the minutes, October 11th, and there won't be any unforeseen items, so I'd suggest if we don't get anybody on, we could continue it again, and, you know, I'll personally reach out to him this afternoon to make sure that he understands what date it was continued to and that they have to appear.
Yeah, let's do this now instead of, you know, if they're not coming,
All
they're
right.
not coming. Normally, I mean, we have threatened before to deny the application on the basis of insufficient information. However, they did at least submit new submissions, new site plans, new landscape plan, new existing vegetation plan, about which we have a number of questions. So it feels like it would not be appropriate to deny at this point for failure to submit. So with that, I think we can, even though I don't love the
Hold on.
idea, December 6th is
Yeah.
pretty full,
Right.
but,
Can you hold on? All right.
yeah, is someone coming?
Oh, somebody's calling.
You know, we've been telling them to watch the tapes and watch the recordings, and they've never even, and you were right, Woburn.
Hold on, Madam Chair. I've got my cell phone in my left hand. I've got you on the screen. I've got my hand on the clicker, and I'm talking to someone from the firm right now. They're having trouble getting on the website. It's MyTownGov. Go to Chatham, and then you will see. I'm muting myself. This is awkward. So let me mute myself.
Okay,
Give me
go ahead.
A minute, just
Is
to try
it
to
easy?
straighten
We'll deal with the minutes while
Right.
you,
Yep.
Is it
All right.
easier to send the agenda
Yeah,
to
you should
them?
send it because it's my town government, Paul, so that might be confusing.
So-
.org.
If you send the agenda, it has the link. All right, so we're going to do the
We'll
minutes?
work on it.
let's do the minutes while he's
Okay.
dealing with that. All right, the minutes are from October the 11th. I was not here that day, so I don't have anything to say about it.
Yeah, it says I ran it. Gee,
Ably run, and
that does not what it says.
I was going to insert that.
Oh, you were. You're being too kind.
I see,
Had a couple typos.
got that, and
Yeah.
Elise caught one, or, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
they were typos.
Anybody else have anything?
No.
All right, well, then I'll take a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the minutes from October 11th, 2023.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so that is, all right, we just used up
2
45
seconds.
seconds doing that. Crystal,
no
I've
unforeseen.
accepted all the changes and saved this draft in the Dropbox, so it's ready for you. That's ready to go out. Oh, it doesn't go anywhere, it's minutes, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
While we've got everybody, while we're waiting, just a reminder that we are scheduled for an on-site visit on Friday morning at 10 a.m. I know you have to work that day. We will take notes and videotape.
Oh, we
The landscape architect will be there. We're hoping that the arborist is there, because he's the one that we really have questions for and want to learn from both, hear what he has to say and ask questions and challenge maybe some of the findings and conclusions he came to in his report. So we will see you at 10 o'clock at the property. And that is, I don't have it in front of me. 26? 22 Cranberry. Okay. I want to put that on the public record in case. 26? 28. 28 Cranberry. 28. We got,
We'll get it eventually.
just everybody make sure we show up at the right house and.
Paul?
Yes, I'm here.
He's,
All right, I spoke to the administrative assistant at Zen Associates. She isn't qualified to
right.
get on the meeting. So I said, let's do this. We'll continue it one more time, but you have to appear, or there's an issue of whether the commission will continue it again or deny it. So I will reach out to Zen Associates and whoever this individual is that drew up the plan and have a talk with him this afternoon, and hopefully we'll get a continuance and they'll show up the next time and we should be okay. But that's the best we could do right at the moment.
Should we also send the list again of our issues?
Well,
Yeah.
we probably can't, and we shouldn't be talking about it because they're not here, but
Right.
they pertain to the previous submissions, not the new submissions about which we have a whole new
True.
set of questions.
True. Okay.
But we do, let them know that we do have a lot of questions. It's really important for them to come because the questions really go to the issue of whether they have provided sufficient information. And if they don't show
Okay.
up, then we don't have sufficient information.
Okay, well,
Okay.
this is what we'll do. If you want to continue it to a date certain, I'll get a hold of them this afternoon before I leave and convey that to them.
Well, we could do it to the 6th of December, which is the next hearing. It is a very crowded agenda. We've kicked a number of things, so my preference would be, I mean, they can't be in that
Later.
much of a hurry for this project because it's been hanging out there since July, to do it to the 13th.
Yeah, 13.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's take a
All right.
motion to continue
Okay.
that to the 13th.
I move that we
Right.
continue 23 Wilkie Way to the meeting on December 13th, 2023.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
And I vote aye, that's unanimous. All right, let them know we'll see them then, or we'll deny it at that point. It's gone on too long. All right, that's it, Paul, right?
Yeah, that's it. I'll work on this as soon as we get offline.
So there are a couple of things in the Dropbox having to do with docks and piers and.
Yes, but that was continued, so I'm going to
Just,
move those.
okay, we're not going to, that's not a general discussion, that's
No, that's
that.
specific to,
Okay.
there's some background information on standards that are applicable to docks and piers, but I will move those to the 6th of December folder. All right, just a motion to adjourn then, I guess.
I move that we adjourn.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's a wrap, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Wow.
Wow.